Hey everyone, thank you for tuning in. We are going to break in live. We have tornado warnings up and down the coast of southern Florida right now with confirmed tornadoes that were on the ground briefly. Not sure if they're still on the ground or not. We're going to get into that right now. However, we're going to monitor the current situation here in South Florida. We have two active tornado warnings. We have one up here to include areas like Pahokee and Bella Glade, Florida. And then down here in the southern portion of the state, closer to the like the Keys. This is radar indicator rotation on this tornado warning, and this one is also radar indicator. Let's zoom in on this one first and get an idea of what it's doing. Again, this is just west of West Palm Beach, Florida, approaching the shoreline. So you can see where the area of rotation, why that tornado warning is issued, not as strong as I think it was. Let's put it in motion here and see what we see here. So you see where it was really good rotation back here. It's not there anymore, so it's weakening out just a tad, but we'll continue to monitor that. Actually, let's go back to velocity. Let's go down here. So here's the other tornado warning. Again, there's the area of rotation, maybe a couple areas of rotation here. And this one's moving northeast. Fortunately, it does not look like there's a lot of population in the path of this. I mean, Florida is a pretty, I should say narrow state. So there's going to be population in here somewhere. And right there's kind of where it's showing that tightening a rotation, and then according to the spectrum width. And if you come back up here on this one, it's showing a couple of areas, but just not as tight as it was. This is approaching the Pahokee and Canal Point region here in Florida. So if you're not aware, there is a tornado watch out for a lot of South Florida right now. I knew that was going to be issued. I just didn't realize how soon it was going to be. So we're a little bit late to the show. There have been tornado reports in Florida today, including some. Let's keep that up for now. Hold on. I'm going to pull up Twitter. There have been tornado reports, actually damaging tornado reports, probably EF2 type tornadoes. Let me look up hashtag. Let's see if we can find any here. So here is the tornado from earlier here in Florida. So this was the tornado that struck the. Oh, hold on. Let me figure out where this was first before I just. So this is a tornado hitting Fort Myers, Florida, earlier. So pretty serious situation. These storms do have a history of producing tornadoes, clearly. And this is the tornado that hit the Fort Myers, Tampa Bay area earlier. Now, keep in mind, the Tampa Bay Buccaneers are hosting a football game, a playoff game here in about an hour and a half. So this happened near the football stadium, south of Tampa Bay in the Fort Myers region, during a playoff weekend. So there's a lot of people there. Yeah, this is a really good recorded video. You see the power flashes. I know there's actually a better video somewhere of the debris being picked up and thrown. Florida people know how to record their tornadoes, apparently. Okay, here it is. So here's the tornado again earlier from Fort Myers. You can see the debris being picked up and thrown. So obviously a pretty serious situation here. This is a violent tornado. This is an aggressive tornado. Those are homes being hit. That's debris being picked up and thrown. Definitely gives off an EF2 area vibe. But that's a great video recorded there by a person in Florida. Looks like on a golf course is where it's hitting to, just off a golf course. Which, Florida has a lot of those. So pretty violent and aggressive tornadoes today in Florida. That one being the best video probably of the day. This is all part of a tornado watch for portions of South Florida. That tornado hit Fort Myers earlier. Where's Fort Myers? That's up here, right? Maybe it's further south. I'll worry about that later. But tornado watch all up and down the southern portion of Florida. You now have 2 active tornado warnings, one here and one here. That was a very, very bad circle that we decided to go live for. But thank you guys so much for tuning in. Let's zoom back in and see what we have on velocity here. So if you have any tightening rotation, still pretty broad on the rotation now on this storm that's approaching the Payakee area. That does not mean there's not a tornado on the ground. Just first glance at the radar, it doesn't appear to be really tight on rotation. Looks like maybe another area of rotation starting to form back here near Lake Harbor. Going to watch that. Come back here south. This one looking a little bit better on the rotation. An area there to be a little bit concerned about. Maybe another area here trying to start to get going. So we'll monitor both of those, which I'm on the Miami radar. I don't think there's a better radar than that. That's the best radar. We're on the best radar possible for these storms right now. So really it's just a waiting game. We'll see what let me change that background. Thank you guys so much for tuning in. This was definitely a last-minute decision to go live. Was not expecting to have tornado events happening this early in the day. I wasn't really paying attention. I knew Florida had the potential to see a tornado today, but I didn't think it would be until the afternoon. Boy, was I wrong. We already had a couple of violent tornadoes hit the area early in the day. Yes, this would be a cold front led storm system. Okay, so this is what we're currently looking at in front of us. 2 tornado warnings. Some pretty good rotation on the one here to the south. We're also watching areas of embedded rotation along these storms in here. Now, with these tornado events, you're not really going to be able to see the tornado, right? It's going to be very difficult to actually pinpoint where the tornado is because of all the rain. You're not going to be able to really see it unless you're right up on it. And by right up on it, you're going to need footage like this from earlier, how close this guy is to the tornado. This is the tornado that hit Fort Myers earlier. This is the same storm system still putting off tornado warnings. You see all the debris being lofted into the air. This is courtesy of livestormchasers.com. Putting out this footage. Of course, this is permission given from Kenneth Cieslak. But this is the tornado that hit Fort Myers, Florida, earlier this morning. Definitely a violent tornado, indicated by just the amount of debris that it's picking up here. Look at all this debris being tossed into the air. That's it hitting homes. That's it potentially injuring people, killing people even. We'll have to wait and see what the injury count is, hoping everybody is okay. You see the power flashes underneath it. Definitely a big and violent tornado. That's for sure. This is the tornado that hit Fort Myers, Florida earlier today. About probably 30 minutes or so before we came online. Here's another view of it from further away. You can see the power flashes. You can see how wide and big it is. Actually, there's a lot of clear slots. I wonder if maybe when this tornado was hitting Fort Myers, it wasn't so embedded. I'm not seeing a lot of rain surrounding it. You can really see this tornado. It's not really hard to see, so I'm wondering if maybe it was not so embedded when it came on shore. This was the storm system that came off of the Gulf of Mexico, right? So we say this all the time: when there's water spouts that are moving towards the land, you should take that serious, because this is what happens when water spouts make landfall, right? They can intensify and become violent tornadoes. That's why yes, I know it's just a thing of water spinning, but you should take it serious, obviously. This is what happens. So hoping everybody in Fort Myers is okay. Looks like the tornado warning to the north has allowed to expire for now. So all we're going to do is monitor this tornado warning now. This is southeast of Fort Myers, northwest of Miami. Need to change that now because there's only one tornado warning. It doesn't look like there's a lot of major population in here. Looks like it's moving in kind of this direction. So areas like Coral Springs, any of these beaches up and down, Boca Raton, Fort Lauderdale, I think you're going to be okay. Any of those areas need to be ready for this. Let's see what it is saying here on the... this is radar indicated rotation for Collier, Hendry, Broward counties. Broward County is so huge. This is all Broward County through here. And this tornado warning is moving towards the northeast. So let's go ahead and pause it. Let's take a look at velocity. So we have it widened out a little bit here. It's not as tight as it was. Still would be concerned with that rotation in there. But it's not as tight of a rotation as we were just looking at. So that's the good news. Snowing in Atlanta, Georgia, tornadoes in Florida. Yeah, it is definitely a wild weather pattern. Kind of normal for Florida this time of year. This is their tornado season, but the snow in Atlanta is kind of unusual. But thank you guys so much for tuning in. If you're just now turning on the video, we are monitoring a tornado warning in Florida. We've seen videos already like this one. Let me find it again. That's not what I wanted. Come on now. Twitter's deciding to do that to me. Looks like here's another video of the tornado from Fort Myers earlier. You see buildings, looks like hotels probably there along the beach. And there's that violent tornado moving behind it. This is from earlier today. This is a storm that came off the Gulf of Mexico. Probably was producing a water spout, and then it turned into a violent tornado as it made landfall. This video is a little blurry, but you can still make out where the tornado is. Let's go back up to the top here. What is going on? Come on. Get me back on the... Here's another video, it looks like, of the Fort Myers tornado. This one taken from inside somebody's house. You can see the aggressive rotation. This was definitely a violent tornado. There's the power flash indicating that it is actively on the ground. I think it's safe to say, as of January 16, that this is probably the best tornado we've seen anywhere this year so far. In terms of aggressiveness, violence, and just overall structure. Looks like I'm getting a hint of maybe horizontal vortices, which only come out of very strong and violent tornadoes. This will likely get a rating of at least in the F2, just first glance, how violent it is. Wouldn't be shocked to see an EF3 rating out of this as well. I haven't seen enough damage photos to go anywhere more than an EF2 or an EF3 rating. But definitely an EF2, I'd say, at the minimum. Just looking at the aggressiveness of it, almost takes like a wedge tornado shape there for a second, too. Hoping everybody's okay in the path of that. That is obviously not something you want to see. I lost that last video. I know Live Storm Chaser's been posting a lot on their Twitter, courtesy of other people. We just watched that one. Okay, here's the one from Kenneth Sizlak. Let me blow it up. From earlier, showing the debris being tossed around. You can see all the big chunks of house being just destroyed and thrown like paper. Definitely an EF2 at least. This is in Fort Myers, Florida from earlier. And it being, it hitting the area early in the morning, you kind of want to hope that nobody was asleep when it happened, because I think a lot of this area was not expecting tornadoes today, even though National Weather Service was talking about the potential for tornadoes. But, this tornado hitting at 10 o'clock in the morning, or around that time anyway, not a lot of people might have been prepared for that. And so hopefully their phones went off in time. Hopefully they get the alert, and hopefully they were in their tornado safe place with enough time. Because if they weren't, it's very possible they were seriously injured or killed. We'll come back to videos like that. We want to get back over to radar here and monitor this current tornado warning. There's now another tornado warning up here to the north. So we're back to 2 tornado warnings in South Florida. We have one right here that's approaching the Jupiter, Florida area. And we have one down here that's kind of by itself, moving northeast. Looks like some other areas of rotation all up and down this line of storms. Let's go to the one to the north. So this is just east of Canal Point. You're seeing that tightening area of rotation right there on the pretty much right in the center of the tornado polygon. This is probably pushing this way. So areas like Jupiter, Florida, Tequesta, however you pronounce that, and Hobe Sound, Florida, need to be prepared as this storm is moving right for you. Looks like behind it as well, you have an area of rotation. So almost like there's 2 separate areas of rotation in the same region of the storm. This area of rotation is actually moved outside the tornado warning box. So I'm wondering if they just let that expire. It's still pretty broad, but I would still have a tornado warning on that personally, especially as it moves towards population. We'll see what they do there. But lots of population in the path of today's tornado threat. We know that areas like Fort Myers got hit earlier with a violent tornado. And then any one of these storms could become a violent tornado if it pops down and starts acting up as it's going into major population. So we have to monitor that. So if you're just tuning in, we are monitoring 2 active tornado warnings, including tornadoes that have a history of producing tornadoes. Violent tornadoes, at least EF2 tornadoes, have been produced already today. Back in the Fort Myers region, right here's North Fort Myers. That was kind of the area that got hit earlier by a violent tornado. Those storms are now pushing off to the east and northeast, and they're now approaching areas like Jupiter, Florida, West Palm Beach, any of these beaches up and down, any of this population. And then we don't want to sleep on back here as well, as this gets close to like the Miami region. This is all Miami right through here. And these storms here also have an opportunity, have a chance at producing tornadoes as they race towards the northeast, towards Miami and Fort Lauderdale. So we don't want to sleep on these down here either. They're just not producing just yet. Looks like this storm almost has like a little hook on it as it comes in. It's isolated. And it's rotating right in here. Might have been producing a water spout. This one's probably producing a water spout right here off the coast of Florida, west of Key Largo. But those storms are rotating, and they are pushing into population like Miami, Homestead. This whole line of storms, this storm probably is going to expire on their tornado warning. It's not as tight as it was. We'll see if they do anything there. And then you come up north and you have another region here, rotation here, and I would say even rotation back here as well. So you have to watch all of this, especially as it goes into population. That's the big thing, right? You'll hear me talk about that all the time. Population, 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 right? Because that's where people live. There's a lot of people here, a lot of chance for more injuries and fatalities. More chance to see scenes like we saw in Fort Myers, with the debris being picked up and thrown and tossed like paper. We have with these storms, you have potential to see more scenes like this, and of course we don't want that, obviously. What channel is Brett streams live on his app, which is a live storm chasing app, or livestormchasing.com. Let's keep questions directly related to tornadoes in Florida, though. Let's not ask questions about anywhere else in the country. That's not what we're talking about here. We need to be talking about the tornado threat in Florida because it's doing this type of stuff. Obviously, people's homes and people's lives are being ruined here in this video, and it's sad to think. This is definitely a violent tornado. Like I said, probably at least EF2. I would say, just based on the amount of debris being picked up and thrown, and we saw some other videos of indication of like horizontal vortices. So at least EF2, maybe EF3. It wouldn't shock me if it got a little bit higher of a rating, but I would say definitely EF2 at least right now. I'm not sure exactly where in Fort Myers it hit. I just know that it did go into Fort Myers. What time did it go through? That's a good question, actually. I've been trying to find that, but I haven't been able to actually identify what time it went through. Maybe I should just read the words of the post. Live storm chasers don't say what time. I'll get that information for you guys. I'll get the information on the time and everything, on what time it went through. Let me pull up storm reports here. And see what they're saying about what time it went through. So 12:44 UTC. So that would be 9:44 in the morning. So the tornado report came into the National Weather Service at 12:44 in the morning, or 9:44 in the morning. Sorry, 9:44 in the morning. So just shortly before 10 o'clock is when this tornado was reported. And obviously, it's on camera. It's pretty obvious that this is a tornado. So 9:44 is when this event occurred here in the Fort Myers area. So obviously, people could still be sleeping. People could be awake, obviously, but a majority of people on a Sunday morning at 9:44 could easily still be sleeping. People could be on their way to church. So it's a very sad situation. Obviously, I don't have any reports of injuries just yet, or fatalities. I expect some, at least injuries. I don't expect fatalities, but I expect injuries of some kind, especially with just the sheer amount of debris that's being tossed and the violent tornado that was captured on camera. There's got to be some kind of injury out of this. Typically, people don't walk, away from these type of events. So, we'll monitor that. I'll get you guys updates. But this is from Fort Myers this morning, about 9:44 in the morning, when this tornado went through, shortly before 10 o'clock. But yeah, we can only hope that nobody was hurt from this. But let's look at the size the tornado takes at one point. I mean, just a huge tornado. And just all the debris. You can see all the big chunks of debris being tossed around the tornado like paper. So we'll definitely keep an eye on that. We'll monitor that and hope that everybody got out okay. Meanwhile, we are monitoring one tornado warning currently across Florida. Make sure there's nothing down here. Yep. We are monitoring just one tornado warning right now in Florida. This is approaching Jupiter, as well as Jupiter Island. Here's Jupiter Island. Here's Jupiter, along the Atlantic coast of Florida. Let's go to velocity, see what we got looking here. Not a whole lot going on. Let's go up a tilt and see what, maybe if it's rotating a little bit better in the higher tilts. Not really. So right here is the area of concern. Not a lot going on right now, but this storm is pushing sort of this direction, approaching the Jupiter, Florida area. So if you live in that area, you should be get prepared. Technically, you don't have to take shelter just yet. The tornado warning is not for you. However, just be ready. Let the kiddos know that, hey, we might have to make a run for the basement here shortly. Wake anybody up if they need to be woken up, obviously. Victoria, thank you so much for the donation, Victoria. $20. God bless you in this stream. Thank you so much. God bless you. Just here doing what I love to do. If you're in Florida, I hope you're doing okay. Pretty serious event seems to be unfolding in Florida. So we're going to be here. We're going to watch it until the storm has passed through the state, which should be here pretty soon, considering they're moving very quickly, and Florida's kind of like really narrow, Yeah, I thought about going down to Florida and chasing, and then I looked and saw there was like a 15-hour drive for something that might not even happen. So I was like, you know what? I'm good. I'll stay home. And I wish I would have gone, because not only just the tornadoes in general, but the structure of these storms probably look amazing right now. Probably just overall a great view of the storms, and that's, I'll go for that. In January, I'll go for that. Okay, Kimba says West Coast, Florida, I'm assuming. We didn't get too bad of weather, but did have a tornado warning this morning. Okay. Where at on the West Coast there of Florida are you? Virginia has a safe room. Good. That's always important too. For any type of tornado event, if you have kids especially, I know I kind of try to drill it into my daughter's head that if there's a tornado or something, this is where we need to go. Of course, 99% of the time, if there's a tornado, I'm not at home. But if there's a tornado that, I try to tell that when I go to her mom's house, like, hey, if there's a tornado, this is where you go. It's definitely important to have that kind of instilled in your kids' head just in case, especially for events like this that happen early in the morning. You know, coming back south, no tornado warnings back south. This little cluster of storms kind of has my attention as they approach the Miami region there, just west of Key Largo and the Key, there in the Florida Keys. These storms are isolated, right? So any of these storms have the ability to produce some tornadoes. I can imagine how nice the view is right now in areas like Marathon, right? This is definitely a straight line wind event happening here. And a lot of times what you do is you get a beautiful shelf cloud racing across the ocean like that, or the Gulf, I guess in this case, coming east across the Gulf. I bet that's just an absolutely gorgeous thing to see. That shelf cloud coming through the waters of the Gulf, hitting areas of the Key West. But there's no warnings out for those, mostly because there's not a lot of population. We got severe thunderstorm warnings all up and down this line of storms here for damaging winds. And then we have one tornado warning now to be approaching the Jupiter area. There's Jupiter, Hobe Sound, Florida, all along the coastline of the Atlantic there in Florida, where there are rotation, and this obviously has the history of producing tornadoes we saw earlier in the Fort Myers area. Rotation, however, weakening out a bit. It looks like it has something maybe starting to develop here near Indiantown. But for the most part, the rotation still pretty weak. Tornado warning still granted, though, by the National Weather Service, and this will push east and northeast towards like Hobe Sound, Florida. We'll be monitoring that for the next few scans to see what it does. Yeah, shelf clouds are amazing. Shelf clouds are my favorite cloud. It never gets old seeing a shelf cloud. I would rather see a tornado personally, because, to get that on video is a lot better than getting a shelf cloud on video, but I love shelf clouds, man. If I can drive a couple hours down the road to see a shelf cloud, I will. Obviously, my thoughts are with those who are being affected by the ice storm and the blizzard right now and the winter storm that's going on up north. But today's focus, or I guess this video's focus right now, is just the tornado warning in Florida and the tornado threat in Florida. We'll monitor these storms here over the next 30 minutes or so and see which path they take, if they start producing more tornado warnings or not. This is definitely a long line of storms. This extends all the way. I would say the severe threat starts at about Palm City, Florida, and extends all the way south, all the way down through the Keys. So there it is zoomed out. So most of South Florida, and then it just extends all the way down to the Keys, and almost, it looks like maybe even to Cuba as well, which is 80 miles away from Key West. So you have about, or 90 miles of storms here, and then an additional, probably 150, 200 miles there. So a long line of storms extending at least a few hundred miles up and down Florida and the Keys. But right now, only one tornado warning, which is good, right? Earlier when we came live, we had about 3 or 4, I think, that we were monitoring. And now we don't have that many, which is good. Still, these storms down here that are by themselves just continue to pique my interest, especially that one right there. It's starting to kind of do a little bit of something. Nope, that's not the button I wanted. So you got some areas of rotation tightening here. You got one right here, maybe one right here. Starting to rotate a little bit in those isolated storms. Those, for some reason, just have my attention just because of them by themselves. But they're not so much by themselves anymore. They're starting to come together a little bit. I think they're starting to interact with that storm coming in from the west now. Oops. Let's go back up here. Let's pull another scan. Still not a lot going on. Not saying there isn't a tornado threat in here, but right there, where we're getting these red and pinks mixing together a little bit better, that would certainly be the concern. I think that's the only radar that would be able to pick that up as clearly. I don't think any other. We'll pull the one from the Palm Bay area, and it's not much going on there. So I would expect that tornado warning to expire. don't think Tampa's going to be able to pick it up now. Miami's still the best radar right now. I'll probably expect that to expire. But we still got to monitor all this down here, right? Anywhere these reds are real bright and these greens, you got to monitor that area because at any moment you could get a tightening area of rotation. That goes all the way south, and then it turns into more of a damaging wind threat down here. These bright blues and greens, those are the damaging wind threat. Let's see what the wind speeds are currently. They only have them at 60 right now, which would be about right, but I would expect gusts maybe up to 70 in there. All the way up and down, areas like this where you get those red and greens come a little bit closer together. We want to monitor that. But right now, just one tornado warning, just west of Jupiter, Florida. And we will monitor that. We'll take you guys over to the video of the Fort Myers tornado from earlier here in a minute. I'm waiting for another scan. Weather never sleeps. That's correct. Weather is always active. Weather is one of the only things that affects a person every single day and every minute of the day, right? You can't do anything without the weather affecting you. And I just think that's a power move. That's why I love watching the weather so much. Tornado in Mar-a-Lago. I have not seen any tornado reports from there. I don't know. Where's Mar-a-Lago at? So if you're just tuning in, we'll actually show some of the footage from earlier. We had a tornado that went through, it hit Fort Myers earlier. Let's see. Let's pull the really good. I'm pulling footage from Live Storm Chasers on Twitter because Twitter is a fair use social media app, so I can actually pull the footage. So this is from Kenneth Cieslak. You're seeing the violent tornado that hit Fort Myers at just before 10 o'clock this morning. All that debris being tossed around. That is a lot of debris. That's a lot of homes getting hit. A lot of structure damage. We'll try to pull maybe some damage photos here in a little bit and see if we can't find any. But absolutely a violent tornado that went through that region. No, I'm not from Florida, so why would I know where that is? But you're seeing all that debris being picked up. Look how violent that tornado. Look how quick that tornado is moving. First off, that's about a 50, 55 mile an hour moving tornado with all that debris being picked up and tossed. And like I said earlier, just like paper, and those are big pieces of structure. Palm Beach, Florida. Okay, I'll check Palm. It did not hit Palm Beach, no. But definitely a big violent tornado there. That's one angle. That's the best angle that you could possibly see from this tornado. This angle I also enjoyed because I think this video you can really see. This is courtesy of Rob Bloom. On this video you can really see the rapid movement. You can see the intensity. You can see the power flashes. You can really see. Okay, Matt says he couldn't find any reports of injuries as of yet. That would be absolutely insane if nobody got hurt from this. I don't see how that would be possible unless everybody in Florida just happened to be sleeping in their basement. That would be incredible if nobody actually got hurt from this. But in this video, you can absolutely see the aggressiveness of the tornado. You can see how big it is. You can see how quick it's moving, how violent the motions are. Did Fort Myers get hit 3 weeks ago? I think I remember reading something on that. That Fort Myers got hit by a tornado earlier in the year, yeah. Just a little tornado alley there in Florida. But you can look how big this tornado got. Look how wide that is. I mean, that's a wide tornado, probably quarter mile wide there. And it's just simply moving so fast and a lot of debris being picked up and thrown. Truly one of the best tornadoes we've seen, obviously, so far this year. Only we're 16 days in the year, but it'll be a little bit before something tops that. Definitely a big tornado there. Thank you guys so much for tuning in. Tampa, yeah, Tampa was a little further north. Tampa was a little bit further north of this storm event, so they were okay, I think. If you guys are obviously just now tuning in, we are monitoring still tornado warning. That's why there's a tornado warning video playing underneath my head here. We are still monitoring tornado warning. Oh, nope, not anymore. It looks like they dropped it. Yay. Okay, so as of 12:15 p.m. Eastern time, there are no active tornado warnings in Florida. So that is good. No active tornado warnings, right? We don't want tornado warnings. Tornado warnings mean tornadoes. Not always, but usually. So we'll just kind of go back and continue looking at the Fort Myers, Florida. Let's pull Fort Myers, Florida, and let's see what we can get out of this. There's that video we've already shown you. Here's a far away shot of the tornado, a little bit further away. You can see the power flashes, and again, just looking at the video, you can see the aggressive movement. Look how wide it is. I mean, this is a Florida tornado. It's incredible. But this is from Fort Myers again. You can see the looks like the hotels for the area. I think the beach is just off to the left. Well, would be off to the left because this tornado is moving east. So back to the left there, over to the west is the beaches for the Gulf. So likely what happened was this tornado came off the Gulf of Mexico. It was probably a water spout at one point, and that's why even in areas that you see water spouts, you should still take them serious, right? A lot of times National Weather Service will get those tornado warnings out. But water spouts, just because they look cool over water doesn't mean they're going to get on land and then just disappear. They become tornadoes, right? They become land tornadoes, land spouts, whatever they become. But as soon as they hit land, that's automatically a tornado, right? And those tornadoes could grow in intensity. I remember watching a video like 2 years ago of a water spout coming on shore, I believe in Florida, and it became a tornado. Nobody took shelter. Everybody was just watching it, and it hit this bar and destroyed the bar. It was a violent tornado, right? Probably the same scenario here, right? These storms were coming off the Gulf, probably producing lots of water spouts, and then just got on land and started becoming violent tornadoes. And this should always be taken serious. Water spouts are a form of a tornado, so and they can produce things like this if they get going just right. Used to watch water spouts, but never thought this would become. Yeah, they could always become something. Always definitely got to take them serious. So here's actually the debris ball. Let me pull up my pen here so I can circle everything. Where are we at here? Come on. Jeez. All right. So right here is the debris ball indicated on the left. Let's use a different color so you can actually see that. So this blue, that's a correlation coefficient drop. So look at what's happening here. Okay. This right here is the coast. So those who were asking about water spouts, right? Right here's the coast. Over here is the Gulf of Mexico. And then here's a violent tornado, right? So what happened was this water spout came on land and immediately, without hesitation, immediately as it hit any type of dry land, it became a violent tornado. So this was absolutely a water spout at one point, and then it came on land and became probably at least an EF2 tornado, right? So obviously water spouts, and look at the rotational velocity. If I'm looking at velocity, I'm thinking, okay, that's not a tornado on the ground, right? There's nothing here on velocity that tells me there's a tornado. But there actively is. This is a violent tornado happening right now. And that's because it was a water spout at one point. Water spouts don't really appear that well on velocity scans. So definitely an aggressive tornado. I would be shocked to hear that wasn't a water spout at one point. So that's a good pull there by Atlantic at WX Atlantic there. So it looks like here's some damage being reported in Fort Myers. Definitely major damage here. Looks like this is a mobile home park, so that makes a difference in tornado rating. when surveyors from the National Weather Service go out and survey tornado damage, they look at how the homes were built, right? If it's a sturdy home that was built anchored to the what's the word I'm looking for? Doesn't matter. If they were really well built homes and they cause this type of damage, that tornado ring goes up. If it hits a mobile home park and causes this damage, the tornado ring might be lower than what's expected. So because it's a mobile home park right now, I'm looking at probably just EF1, maybe low end EF2 damage, because you can tell not every house is hit and a lot of them are still standing. It's just parts of them got ripped off and tossed. So probably EF1, low end EF2, just first glance. Of course, I'm not a National Weather Service meteorologist. I don't survey tornado damage. But clearly just looking at that, that's at least EF1. There's the tornado again from earlier, showing the debris being picked up and thrown. Here's a pretty cool photo. This is that's a really good photo. This is a still image of the tornado on the ground. So you've seen all the homes. These are all mobile homes in here, probably more over here. Florida is known for their mobile home parks. A lot of people live in mobile homes there in that state. But you're definitely seeing the debris right here from this tornado. That's probably the best photo I've personally seen of a Florida tornado. But you're seeing the debris here. All the white little pieces are pieces of debris. Big tornado, and it's pushing east. You can see the inflow being picked up there by the RFD, also known as a rear flank downdraft, wrapping around the tornado. So you can see all the wind wrapping around the tornado, causing that RFD. Definitely Florida is roughly 70% trailer parks. Yeah, that's exactly, So you see a lot of this in Florida, a lot of these mobile home parks, RV parks, and that's what that tornado hit for the most part from what I've seen so far. But definitely one of the best photos I've seen. That's Brandon Lucas. Thank you so much, Brandon, for taking that picture and showing us what was happening there in Fort Myers earlier. Let's see. So luckily, it looks like they did get the tornado warning out. This is what was earlier. Looks like they did get that tornado warning out, so that's good. Looks like another video here of the tornado. For those who are curious, this happened at about 9:44 this morning. I think is when the storm report came in. So shortly before 10 o'clock, this tornado hit the Fort Myers region. Came onto the beach, probably as a water spout. Came onto the beach and then became a violent tornado once it got on land. A lot of people don't think that, though, right? They don't think water spouts are going to become tornadoes or even violent tornadoes at that, but this one probably did. You can see the RFD right down here actually picking up debris as well. You can see the RFD ripping into the tornado. The RFD is your rear flank downdraft. It's what wraps around the tornado. It kind of gives, I call it like the gasoline for the tornado, right? It just keeps the tornado going, keeps the tornado cycling. And definitely had a really good RFD on that tornado. Pretty visible there. Monitor, make sure we're not missing anything. We're not. Still no tornado warnings. Might have something starting there west of West Palm Beach. We'll monitor that for a few more scans. But for the most part, I just want to come on here and touch. There's that photo again. Such a good photo. This guy looks like he's maybe zoomed in on it a little bit more. So here's a zoomed in photo of the tornado from earlier in Fort Myers. So just identifying what's happening here. Obviously, you have your tornado here, right? You got your debris. This would all be your debris ball all the way through here. Anywhere there's debris being tossed up is your debris ball. And then right here, you can see the little white, right? You can see the white coming in, and then you can see it circling around. That's your RFD. It's your rear flank downdraft. That's what keeps the tornado spinning around the tornado, or not around the tornado. It just keeps the tornado spinning, right? Keeps it rotating. It wraps around the tornado. Keeps it moving. Probably a lot of inflow being sucked into the tornado at this point as well. assuming the person taking this photo probably had a lot of wind at their back as the inflow pushes towards the tornado. It helps that RFD wrap around and keep the tornado going. And the tornado racing east like this at about 50 miles an hour, producing just massive areas of debris, hitting homes. I'd be amazed if no one got injured from this. I'll have to continue checking reports. I'll update you guys in the Discord chat as well as here on YouTube. But I'd be shocked if there wasn't reports of injuries anywhere in the path of this tornado. Look, you got debris all the way up here. This was definitely a violent tornado. Looks like maybe debris all the way up here as well. Just being picked up and tossed like nothing. So I'd be shocked to see if that there wasn't injuries from this. Mobile homes in Florida are required to install tie-down anchors. I didn't know that. If they had tie-down anchors, they did pretty well against this tornado. I didn't see a lot of completely flat mobile homes from this, so that's a good thing. If you're just now tuning in, there are no active tornado warnings right now. When we came live, there were multiple. They've died over the last 52 minutes. We've been on air now. But we are monitoring the tornado that hit Fort Myers, Florida earlier. I'm sure you're seeing reports of it on your news by now. Here's really the only damage that we've seen so far. You're seeing obviously some pretty major damage to some areas. Looks like this, whatever this was here. And what's even more alarming is that there are cars parked in the driveway. So it's very likely that these people were home. There's a car, and then there's a mobile home that's pretty well destroyed. So the only thing you can hope for is that they were in their tornado shelters, that they were prepared for this in some way. The tornado warning was issued on land, so hopefully they took that serious and were in their shelters. You can see debris hanging up in the trees as well, in the palm trees. So pretty decent damage. We'll see what rating it gets here in a few days when they come out and survey. No problem at all. Yeah, I try to make it a little bit educational as well. I know a lot of people want to know how a tornado works and everything. There's a lot more to it, but that's the best I can kind of give you. Looking at videos of the tornado, obviously the debris just being kicked up all over the place here. The tornado's racing to the east at about 50 miles an hour or so. Let's see if we can see any inflow RFD. So you see the trees? Let's see if I can pause that. So these trees right here, if you watch the video, these trees are blowing this direction. They're blowing towards the tornado, maybe a little bit this way as well as the tornado passes. That's your inflow. That's an indicator right there. The tornado is either on the ground or it's about to start. Is which way is your inflow go? Is your inflow racing towards the tornado or is it blowing away from it, right? And in this case, it definitely looks like the trees are either blowing with the tornado or at the tornado. I couldn't really tell just based on the video, my depth perception there. Looks like they're blowing towards it. And then they'll probably kind of shift and start blowing to the right as the tornado passes. But you can certainly see the aggressiveness of the tornado. Very violent. You can see the power flashes. You can see debris being picked up down here, right where that RFD is now. The tornado getting really close to the cameraman. Definitely a good shot. Overall, a really good video. Probably the best one we'll see all day of this tornado here in Fort Myers. Let's see here. They are going to leave appeal service. But yeah. So this is the only tornado I've seen all day was the Fort Myers one, which makes sense because of the population that's going to happen. Here's the video of the damage that we've seen so far from Florida. Oh, I should probably check and make sure there's not a tornado on the ground or anything. Okay, no, we're good. Still no tornado warning. But this is the best video of the damage we've seen so far out of Florida. It looks to be pretty minor. I know it doesn't look minor in your guys' opinion. I think that home there to the right, this home right here is the worst I've seen so far. That took pretty good, but you notice all the other homes are standing and they look decent. So that's good. Let's go back up to the top here and see what else we got going on. Let's refresh. Wait to see if we have any more reports coming in. We've seen that already. We've seen that. For those who maybe weren't in the video when we were talking about this, so here's the beach, right? So these little jagged lines indicate where the beach is. I know it's kind of weird, but so right out here is the Gulf of Mexico. Okay, so just think about that for a second. That's the Gulf of Mexico. And right here where this blue is, that's what we call a correlation coefficient drop. That's where debris is that's a debris spike, right? So that's a debris ball. It's being picked up on radar. So that's where the tornado is actively occurring. And it's just off the Gulf of Mexico. So that leads me to believe that this was a water spout back here. And as it came on land, it then formed into a violent tornado, because that will and can happen. Right? A lot of people like to record video. Geez, I was barely awake when I started this stream. People like to record water spouts, right? Obviously, you're on the beach and you see a water spout. You're like, oh my goodness, I got to record it. Keep in mind, they can do serious damage when they get on land. And that's what we're seeing right now. You know, we're seeing these unfortunate events where water spouts come on to the coast and start producing damage. We'll play this video one more time. And then if there's no tornado warnings, we'll go offline. There it is again, guys. That's the tornado hit Fort Myers, Florida earlier today. Hoping everybody's okay. I will, of course, get you guys updates. I will let you guys know on injuries. If you're in that Discord chat, I'll absolutely upload or update you guys. We'll do some coverage of the winter storm happening right now across the Northeast as well later on. I'm waiting for that storm to kind of get closer to like Pennsylvania and that region where it really starts to drop the snow before going live and talking about it. But we wanted to touch in. We want to talk about the tornadoes that hit Florida today. Of course, I hope everybody's okay. You never want to see events like this. However, it's just part of the weather. Happens all the time. Happens every year. So we're hoping everybody's okay there in Florida. If you're from Florida, I'm sure there are going to be donation tips and hotlines that you can call or websites you can donate to. So in the event that this requires that, I'm not sure again on estimated damage or injuries or deaths yet. But like I said, we'll get you guys updated. Thank you guys so much for tuning in though. Until next time, guys, I'm Zach Walters. Everyone stay safe.